You seem uncomfortable. Do it make you nervous, Corky?
No.
Thirsty, maybe.
Curious, maybe.
That's funny. I'm feeling a little bit curious myself.
Even after the flesh perishes, one can live in the hearts of others together with the feelings one has for them. Therefore, the story of love must be told many times so that the spirits of podcasters may live forever. The one thing that never perishes, the only promise, is pod. Welcome to Pleasers
And Punishers.
where we talk about movies that people love to watch,
Movies that ruin your today, tomorrow, and yesterday.
and all things kinky and queer.
I'm Caitlin of the North.
And I'm May Big Lips Schultz.
And today we're discussing, is the Bakaneko the only cat who can close doors? Because honestly, that does not sound correct to me. In Nobuhiko Obayashi's 1977 fever dream, House.
AKA Hausu, which is actually a real title, unlike Ringu, which is not a real title. It's just Ring. Anyway, my opening... Sorry, I'm already getting up on my little soapbox.
Oh, I have so many things to say about language, so go on.
Okay, so we changed this question right before we started recording, because my original question was kind of boring. Do you like watermelon or bananas? And you're allergic to bananas. I fucking hate bananas, so team watermelon all the way.
Watermelon it is.
Let's go with a better question that you came up with. Have you ever been in a haunted house?
Yes, I lived in one.
Wait, have you talked about this before?
I did a little bit in I believe in Sinners, which
Okay.
for the listeners will be just last week, but for us was like 3 weeks ago.
It's true.
So-
Caitlin just got back from a trip celebrating their birthday.
Hooray! And I'm a little jet lagged, so hooray! I'm in the perfect mindset to discuss this movie right now.
Absolutely.
I did bring this up that when my mom got remarried in 1995, actually before she got remarried, but that's not the huge thing. 1995, I moved down to Oregon from Washington, and our house that they bought was a murder house.
Oh, okay.
They got a very good deal on it because an elderly couple had been murdered in a home invasion gone wrong.
Mm.
And as someone who, at that time, I wouldn't say necessarily believed in ghosts, I was very, very anxious and stressed child for many reasons. Definitely a child of the people of the mountains. I was very into like elves, fairies, those kind of things. But weird things started to happen in that house. Not big things, but just things that were strange enough to go, okay, I think there's something here. And this is the big story for me. Was one time I'm home alone by myself. This is like, I've been the last half of 4th grade, I think into 5th grade here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's at night, and I walk into my bedroom, and I hear breathing. Like someone is sleeping, breathing in my room.
The sheer terror that just gripped my insides. Oh my God.
I held my breath to make sure it wasn't myself, because I'm thinking I could just be scared because I'm home in a murder house by myself. Nope. I'm still hearing it, just like... So I run out of the room. I turn on every single light I can. I turn on the TV. I turn on the radio, the CD player, and I just sit there on the couch going, oh, I can't wait for someone to come home.
So obviously you survived, so you were
Yes.
not murdered by a ghost.
Jinkies.
Do you have any ideas as to who the spirit might have been? Do you think it was one of the old couple?
I do. Definitely, since it was a violent death as well.
Mm-hmm.
that energy. I mean, I was talking to someone the other day, and their idea of ghost is like that person is still alive in an alternate reality, and that kind of bleeds over in parallel.
Oh, I like that.
Mm-hmm. So, either way you want to take it, but I'm an atheist. I absolutely believe in ghosts, though.
Yeah, I mean, ghosts are energy. They're leftover energy from people who existed, and as we know by one of the laws of physics, matter can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be transformed. So when you die, the energy in your body's got to go somewhere. And as a fellow atheist who does not believe in heaven, I think reincarnation is definitely possible. I like that idea. I find it kind of comforting. And I think sometimes energy just like hangs around. And that's why we have places that are haunted. And I don't know if I've ever really been in a haunted house. There was definitely like a ghost puppy or something that was at my last apartment. Because when I first moved in, I don't know, for the first like 3 months, every night, every single night at 2 or 3 in the morning, my cats would run from one end of the apartment to the other. Now, this was a long apartment. This was a long Chicago apartment. So the front of the apartment was the radiator in the living room, and the back of the apartment was the radiator in my bedroom, and they had those metal covers on them. So it's not quiet when cats jump on and off of them. So they would just run back and forth for like 30 minutes to an hour every night for the first 3 months that I lived there. And I was convinced they were like chasing a ghost puppy around, and then they eventually either made it go away or became friends with it so that they weren't keeping me up at night. But my real haunting story, and I've definitely experienced creepy things before. I've been in a lot of old houses. The AV work that I used to do took me to a lot of places that I was like, there's bad energy here.
Oh, and yeah, I can definitely feel that energy. It's like a pull, or your body just kind of is like, ooh.
Yeah, it's like a simultaneous tightening within you and a pulling out of you. And it's palpable when it happens. There was a house that my dad and I did work in, and it was like a twin house. So originally it was 2 very well-off sisters who had houses built next to each other with an underground tunnel connecting them. And someone we knew bought one of the houses. This is after the sisters had died. And the house that she bought had an organ, a pipe organ, built into the walls of the entire house.
You're just asking for it at that point.
And like,
haunt me, please.
I walked in there and I was like, oh no. And every room I walked into, I was like, oh no. And I did not want to do the work there. I told my dad we shouldn't take the job, but we needed the money. And so we took it. And thankfully nothing bad happened. But there were definitely moments where like my tools would be moved, or I would be in the middle of doing something, and then I would kind of lose myself for a second and I would be in a different room. It was very unsettling. I kind of forgot about that. The biggest one, though, is when Erica, my bestie, and our friend Kelly and I stayed at the Stanley Hotel in January. And Erica felt a ghost push down on the bed. And the thump woke me up. So I didn't hear it, but it woke me up. And so I was like half awake. And then she started freaking out, understandably, because she was like, oh my God, there's a fucking ghost in here. And we tried to recreate this sound. We could not get the bed to do whatever the hell it had done. We couldn't get it to move the way it had. And that was in the morning, but back to right when it happened, Erica's sleeping on the left, I'm in the middle, Kelly's on the right. And so Erica and I are trying to like talk quietly, but Kelly kind of stirs and goes, "Did you two just say ghost?" And we go, "Yeah." and Kelly is a natural born skeptic. So we're at the Stanley Hotel, a very haunted place, and she doesn't believe any of the shit we're hearing on the ghost tours, which is kind of hilarious. But yeah, she goes, "Did you two just say ghost?" And we go, "Yeah." And she goes, "No." And then immediately falls back to sleep and starts snoring. Nah. Meanwhile, Erica and I were like terrified for the rest of the night. And if you know Erica, she is not a snuggly person. But she was like pressed back into me for most of the rest of the night with my arms wrapped around her because she was so scared. So we didn't get hurt, nothing weird, but there were also moments that we were walking around the hotel and my hair was standing up like crazy. So the Stanley Hotel is absolutely haunted. 100%.
So haunted. Yeah, one of the things that I found funny at the house that I was living in is there were a few times, like my sister was there with me. We'd be playing Minesweeper. Yes.
Hell yeah.
Minesweeper. And we could see in the reflection, for some reason, we had one of those like big water jugs you would find in a dentist office or medical space. And it would just depress and water would just come out. Like you could see it. And so that's why in movies I'm always like, "Ghost, what is with you in water? You just want to like splash around all the time."
I don't know. Maybe it feels really good for them.
Right? Oh, it's like, this is the closest we're getting to corporeal right now. It's
Yeah, it's like they have kind of a vapory texture. So maybe they can interact with the water in ways that they can't with other materials. All right. Well,
ghosts.
Speaking of haunted houses, now that
Let's
I'm kind of like scary, let's get into some roleplay, right?
Now, one of you will be the drowning victim, and the other one gets to be our lifesaver.
I'll be the victim. All your life.
Sorry, you said Scoob, and I had to go for it.
Scoob.
All right, so I'm going to do the entire synopsis in my Scooby-Doo voice. Just kidding. I don't want people to murder me. Two teenagers, Gorgeous and Fantasy, who definitely aren't lesbians, do a witchy photo shoot after school. When Gorgeous gets home, her father introduces his new fiancé, and Gorgeous is none too thrilled. Then we meet the rest of their friends, Melody, Kung Fu, Prof, Sweet, and Mac, who can no longer take the trip they had planned to a training camp or something. It's a little unclear. So Gorgeous decides everyone should go stay with her auntie for the summer.
And there are 7 of them. And this is important because in Japanese culture, 7 is a big, like, good luck. You want 7 in the group. However, as we kind of find out, this is not necessarily good luck for them, but maybe good luck for someone else.
I am excited to hear more about that. The girls board a train for the countryside with Blanche the cat in tow, and near the house they meet a bizarre watermelon vendor who sort of acts as the harbinger if we're subscribing to horror tropes. They arrive at the house and meet Gorgeous's auntie, a gray-haired woman in a wheelchair, who she hasn't seen in 10 years but has been waiting for her.
And this is the second time I go, "Don't trust the white woman." But here's why.
Not the white woman.
Not the white woman. The
white
woman. Yes, and that's actually so. I used to work with someone, he was originally from the Philippines, and I was talking, I think, about ghost stories, and he was just like, "Oh, yeah, Miss Caitlin," because he would call me Miss Caitlin. It's like, "Oh, yes, Miss Caitlin." I mean, where I grew up in, like, the country, you were always told, like, watch out for the white woman. And then he stopped, and he looked at me, and he was like, "What? Not like you, white woman." Like a white woman.
Like a lady in white.
Lady in white, long dark hair, just a figure that features heavily in a lot of Pacific Islander, East Asian folklore traditions. Yeah. Ghosts. So it was
that makes sense.
So all the time now, though, whenever I see in a horror movie, a woman with dark hair, or it's just all in white. It's like, watch out for the white woman. Watch out for snakes.
Who said that? When they go inside, Kung Fu defends everyone from a chandelier attack, Melody takes a seat at the piano to play a beautiful tune, and Mac deposits her watermelon in the well as Auntie hungers for her flesh out loud. After dinner, Fantasy goes to find Mac, whose head comes out of the well and bites her on the ass.
Bites her in the butt.
Okay, quick side note. When I was like 5 or 6 years old, I had one of those tape recorder things that had a microphone. It was like,
oh yeah,
like the one in Toy Story.
Yeah, totally.
And I would use it to record scary stories. And I remember very specifically, the only part of any one of them I remember, I was telling a story about someone who was on an airplane and a gremlin came out of the toilet and stabbed them in the butt with a fork. So that's 5 or 6 year old May's sense of humor. It hasn't really changed.
Spoiler alert.
So when Kung Fu goes to investigate, all she finds in the well is the watermelon. So they all split it. But Fantasy sees an eyeball in Auntie's mouth moving around as if it's one of her own. But we know it's Mac's. As Gorgeous soaks in a steam bath, Kung Fu goes to work chopping and battling wood. Auntie climbs into the fridge, seen only by Fantasy, then dances with a skeleton and enjoys a nice Mac snack.
There's so much like great stuff here. The skeleton alone.
Oh, I love the skeleton. I love that later in the movie, he's just constantly dancing in the background. Listeners, I wish you could see us. We're flapping our arms around like wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube band.
It's so very like House on Haunted Hill. Just like a little dance of skeleton for you as a treat.
Sweet gets attacked by bedding in the linen closet and disappears. Gorgeous experiences a mirror-centric special effects moment, after which she seems a bit different. She leaves to take a moonlit stroll, and the remaining 4 girls are trapped in the house. The piano eats Melody as Fantasy watches in abject horror, and Kung Fu and Prof find Gorgeous upstairs, who is now wearing Auntie's wedding dress. Prof reads from Auntie's diary, and Gorgeous, who is, quote, in her Auntie's world, explains that Auntie actually died years ago, but her body stayed alive, and she eats any unmarried girls who come to the house.
Spoiler alert, that 7 was very good luck for Auntie.
Kung Fu battles her way outside, facing off against Ghost Gorgeous, then makes her way back in and is sadly dispatched by a ceiling light fixture. But her legs survive and destroy the portrait of Blanche. Prof is then dragged into the pool of cat blood that has filled the house, sealing her fate, and momentarily turning her into a cute little wooden piggy, which is like, I love that. It, like much of this movie, it makes no sense. It's just like, yeah, this is fun. Mm-hmm. And it really is adorable. Fantasy sees that Gorgeous has been possessed by the spirit of her auntie, but she goes to sleep with her head on Gorgeous's boobs anyway because they're definitely not lesbians.
Not gay.
Future stepmom arrives at the house to talk, where she catches fire and disappears, leaving Blanche and the auntie-possessed Gorgeous to live their best spinster life. And that is House.
Blanche, Rose, Dorothy... they're all there, Sophia.
Now I'm imagining a remake of this, but with the Golden Girls. That's incredible.
Wunderbar.
Okay, Caitlin, what's your relationship with this movie?
Oh, it's bonkers, and I love it. I saw this around the time I first saw The Happiness of the Katakuris, which is Takashi Miike. Mm-hmm.
That's his like haunted house musical movie, right?
Yes.
Which I still have not watched.
Which is on our list, and I'm so excited to talk about it. But just getting into horror from different places and coming from a place also of, I know both of us really enjoying like MST3K and the weird and also finding like beauty in what like our culture may consider strange, though at this point this movie, as I will get into, was definitely considered an anomaly at the time. So this is probably my 5th time watching it. I also chose it for a Monday night quarantine fright film. Oh, I think I was trapped in a house.
Yeah. It's the perfect time to watch it.
It was a trapped, not kidnapping. So this was my contribution. Everyone was so welcome.
I love this movie. I think the first time I saw this was probably in high school. When did Criterion first put this out? Because I feel like it was out on DVD when I was in high school. And that's how I watched it, because I rented it from Video Adventure, because they had their whole Criterion wall.
I definitely saw it somewhat like late 90s. I feel like early 2000s.
Okay, yeah. For me, it would have been like mid 2000s. So I didn't watch it again after that for, I don't know, probably 10 plus years, maybe longer. And I love this movie. It is so fun. It doesn't take itself seriously at all, except as a piece of art. It's like, look, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want, and it's going to work within the world of this film, and that's the extent of how seriously it takes itself. And I love that. It knows what it is, and it wants to have fun. And that's what's important.
The movie is not interested in doing anything that could potentially happen in reality. And that is fantastic. It did not want to operate in like realism at all. And I just love that so much.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I was supposed to see this back in February at the Music Box for a midnight movie, but I was too fucking tired. And I'm so sad because this is like a perfect midnight movie. That's where it belongs in exhibition. I just wish I wasn't old so that staying up for a midnight movie wasn't so
it's
difficult.
so hard now. Like, the first time I saw The Lure was at a midnight movie, and now I'm like, oh, I can't even.
I don't think I could watch that as a midnight movie because I would leave the theater at 2 a.m. just bawling.
Oh, I was just hopped up. I know you just covered it, but
I did.
and this is
Covered
why
it
it's
on
on my
Tender Subject.
mind. Yes, was that I remember after it, Brian turned to me and was like, "Well, how much did you love that?" And I was like, "All of it, every piece."
Accurate.
Now I want to just go sing.
Okay, well, very important question.
Yes.
Which character do you identify with the most, and who is your favorite character?
I don't know why at first I was like, maybe it's fantasy. No, it's not fantasy, Caitlin. It is absolutely kung fu. Who am I kidding myself? I want the butch one. I'm going to be a little butch. I want to be the one doing martial arts of some sort. It's funny because at first I was like, well, that's kind of strange. Why is she named Kung Fu since that is not a Japanese martial art? And it is because just Kung Fu movies were really cool at the time. Mm-hmm. So he wanted, I don't know if you ever had the pleasure of reading Nancy Drew.
I read a little bit.
We have 3 characters, and George was my bitch. Mm-hmm. Like, I wanted the boy name, I wanted the short hair, and I wanted to be doing martial arts. When I was put into ballet, I hated it.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
So much. Tap dance I liked a bit better, but oh yeah, well, ballet is very strict and has a lot of rules. I wasn't here for that either.
No.
But I really wanted to be doing karate. Like, I wanted to be doing karate so bad. I was like, and I have to do ballet, but I want to punch things. So, Kung Fu all the way. I was a Buttercup in a Powerpuff Girl. I was a Ray in a Sailor Moon. Yep, Kung Fu.
Excellent. Okay, so that's who you identify with and your favorite character?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kung Fu is definitely my favorite. I have a big old lesbian crush on her. I just
a little butch.
like a slightly butch girl who can protect me and has cool moves, hell yeah. But, I mean, let's be real. I'm Mac. I love food. All I think about most of the time is food. I'd be the one in the kitchen cooking for everybody. And if this was like a year or two ago, I might have said gorgeous just because I love wearing makeup. I love looking beautiful and effeminate and not high society. I don't know what I'm saying. But I literally have not done a full face of makeup in almost exactly 6 months. No, 5 months. Yeah. I have not done a full face of makeup since Erica's birthday party, which was in mid-April. And it is currently mid-September. So it's been a while, and I have kind of loosened up on my I have to have a full face on to leave my apartment sort of thing. So
same, actually, kind of recently. I'll go through phases, but
let's discuss the film's cultural context in our next
section.
I can't exist by myself
because I'm afraid of myself. Because I'm the maker of my own evil. Goodness is only some kind of reflection upon evil. That's all it is.
All right, Caitlin, take it away.
All right, so before I go in on a little bit of what was happening in movies at the time, socio-political landscape, I just want to talk about the Bakaneko, which is a Japanese cat demon. So, at one point early on in the movie, as I so quoted, the girls are talking about the witch cat and how any cat can open a door, but not every cat can close a door. Now, of course, if we're thinking traditional Japanese, that means we're pushing and pulling doors, kind of in a ryokan sense, not so much opening them as we would in the West. So for me, at first thinking about, wait, of course a cat can close a door. It's really easy for a cat to close a door. They just brush up against it and they close it. But if your doors are sliding,
a little harder.
It's a little harder for them to close it rather than kind of opening it, maybe just by pushing it open. So there's 2 different types of cat demons, main cat demons. There's a Nekomata and a Bakaneko. Nekomatas are typically more dangerous, devious. They always mean you harm. They work a lot more with the dead. And their tails will split.
Oh.
So, in Japanese culture, or like folk tales, legends, traditions about the cat demons, around 12, they would say, your cat could start to become a demon. Not all of them. Just some of them. Some of those old cats might start to exhibit demon-like qualities. They would think a cat on its hind legs walking around would be a huge indication that your cat is now a demon. If the tail was really long, so again, the split tail, which is how we come about the Japanese bobtail. So in Japan, they would bob, not everywhere, but they would bob the tails of cats. And it is now a specific breed, and because the Japanese are absolute cat people. There are cats everywhere. There are good cats. There's bad cats. Just like a cat in real life. It's kind of like the unknowable idea of a cat also makes them a bit mystical.
Yeah.
And that they would hang around and kill mice and rats and temples and whatnot. So they would also be serving an excellent function. They like people, but do they really? It's just they're kind of little dragons.
And so you said cats might turn into demons around 12. How old is Edie again?
She just turned 12.
Might explain some things.
Yeah. And I've always made her trying to get up on her little cat legs to beg for food. Her bites are becoming just that much more potent. I am watching her get up out of her chair right now and walk over because she heard us talking about her.
Oh my God. I don't know if it'll be audible in the podcast after I edit it, but I can hear her right now.
She has things to tell me. As how dare you? Don't blow up my spot like this. So some of the ideas, though, of where the bakaneko might also come from is in Japan, they were lighting lanterns with less expensive fish oils, so sardines and things. So cats were very interested in getting to that oil. So they're walking up maybe on their hind legs or attracted to the light.
I hope none of them caught on fire, because that's all I'm thinking of now is a cat trying to get to flaming sardine oil and catching on fire.
For some reason, I don't think they did. Somehow.
Okay, good.
Because it does seem like that would be...
I think cats are too smart to actually touch fire.
Yeah, that's the issue. If they have their big old tails, and then it goes into the flame, but if they don't have their big old tails, maybe because they've been shortened.
Got it.
So yes, cat demons have a very great and long tradition in Japanese. Just a great tradition of ghost cats and demons. And within the context of house, kind of having this cat, auntie, house, demon all coming together to try to eat these girls is quite excellent. One moment, I have to kick my cat out of the room, and we'll be right back.
And normally I would edit that out, but I'm going to leave it in because in the context, it is hilarious.
As she bites the back of my legs. I'm going to remove her from the situation. Moving forward. One of the things that I love about this movie, this is definitely from the Criterion Collection, special feature, Constructing a House, is that this movie came pretty much out of Jaws. Jaws had become a huge hit over in the United States, and all of a sudden, some Japanese studios were more interested in giving kind of unproven directors money for horror movies.
Because they were like, oh, we might have another Jaws on our hand and we won't know unless we invest in these people. Interesting.
Exactly. Obayashi, who is, at this point, he was an art house director. He was going into more art spaces and making short films. There's one that is a supplemental on the Criterion Collection that you can watch called Emotion. And you can see a lot of the cuts, the blending of also English, Japanese, a lot of things that people, particularly the studios, didn't necessarily want Japanese directors to be doing. So in Japan, you didn't, at the time, it wasn't necessarily like a horror movie that you would have. It's sort of a more ghost fantasy movie. Because you are pulling from a lot of Japanese ghost stories that have already been established. So also in things like no dramas, particularly, or kabuki, we're taking a lot of established narratives and now translating them to the screen. Which is really interesting to me because Obayashi really puts himself as, I am going against all of this. He is coming from a push the boundaries. No one wanted to make this movie. Him and a screenwriter, they had a script. They tried to get it made for about 2 years, but no directors from the studios wanted to touch it because it didn't fit into a sort of standard narrative. And he was like, even House, when he was like, House, look at this, House. No one in Japan, it was very taboo to actually name your movie just an English word.
Oh, interesting.
Which is why I was like, oh, it is House, and then Hausu, but really because in Japan you wouldn't ever say house. like that. That's just not how the language works.
Mm-hmm.
Because he specifically wrote it, house,
Mm-hmm.
he was kind of just be like, I'm going to do my own thing over here. There was a point in this interview where he's talking about, he's like, what would like Kurosawa do? Now, what would make him really angry if I did it? What's like the opposite of that would make him mad? I'm going to do that.
That's incredible.
He kind of just built up a lot of hype for this movie. He had been working in commercials, which I may have said that was not seen as something that you would do as a film director. But because he was working in all of these commercials, that was how he found a lot of the girls. Because he had already worked with them. And so he had an idea of like, this is who I'd like to play Mac. This is who I'd like to play Sweet, Fantasy. And I know Gorgeous was a working actor, and I can't remember. And also the auntie was a working actor, most definitely.
And Blanche is clearly a working actor.
That
got
queen,
chops.
just, that hair alone,
3 hours
She's
in the
gorgeous,
chair
Blanche is
every day.
gorgeous. This is one of those hard left turns, then, that I feel like we actually had one of these last recording. So Jaws. We're coming out of Jaws. They wanted to make a Jaws. And then even with a movie like this that feels so not based in reality, which is exactly what Obayashi was going for, is he was born in the Hiroshima prefecture.
Got it.
So the atomic bomb was a huge, obviously, the dropping of the atomic bomb, the end of World War II, which, as a reminder, did not have to happen. Mm-hmm. It was not to end the war. That was not what the U.S. was doing with that. It was a show of power against communism was a big part, and just to unnecessarily punish people, particularly citizens, in a war that, they didn't start at that point, that they did not start. So that was always a huge part of this generation of creators and Japanese directors and writers. He talks about how a lot of his friends he lost, either in the blast or from subsequent radiation poisoning. If you want to see one of the hardest, but I think very necessary movies about this is Grave of the Fireflies by Studio Ghibli. That put out, where it is spectacular. It is a hard watch, but I think it's very, very necessary to understand, and also things why empathy and humanity are very important in these kind of times. At one point, Obayashi is talking about the idea of the movie and, quote, "The girls are born after the war, unaware of how precious peace is. The old woman's bitterness about the war turns into an evil spirit."
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's such an interesting underlying thing for a movie that's pretty lighthearted.
Right.
Yeah, you've got a cannibal witch eating girls, but it's fun. It's funny. And when you apply the cultural context to it, which is why I like having this section in our episodes, it becomes a very different, more layered thing. So
Yes, and why it's always, I think, important to know, where we're coming from, where other people are coming from, and also where we can find common ground in ourselves and our shared histories. And what influence these all have on our cultures in one way or another. I really like about... Did you like that transition, by the way?
I did.
What I really... Thank you. Until I called it out. What I really love about this movie is listening to Obayashi talk about how the critics responded to it.
yeah.
And my favorite quote he had of a critical response was, "I had fun, but the movie is awful nonsense."
Wow.
And I was like, ouch.
Wow.
Not true.
That's mean.
Oh, yeah. It was very critically derided. I believe some critics weren't even right on it. They're like, this is the end of Japanese cinema.
Jesus.
If this is a hit. Oh, it was very... Because I believe Japan was... I mean, it was a lot of the very structured ghost stories, which are very, very beautiful. And I have nothing but, like, respect. Like, saw Kuro Neko the other day, and it's so beautiful.
Oh, you just watched that for the first time?
Yes.
It's
and
so good.
Amazing. And, however, those movies were not so interesting to the youths.
Yeah.
The kids were not as into that structure and tradition. You know, this is 77, where the whole world is sort of coming into this cultural moment after World War II. And the youngs loved this movie.
The youngs.
The youngs. The youths loved it. I will never do that again. The youths. The kids loved it. It really resonated on a different level than a lot of Japanese cinema had been at the time with the younger generation. Mm-hmm. And it's very interesting because at one point, I really recommend looking at this Constructing a House. All the creators have such interesting and really cool things to say about the creation of the movie. One of the things was his directing style. It's actually very interesting because he was working with younger actors who mostly were not working actors. He was finding that if he was verbalizing his direction, he wasn't getting the performances that he wanted. They didn't really feel like it was rooted in a sort of reality. It felt too commercial.
Okay.
So what he did was, because they had already made the soundtrack as part of trying to get the movie made.
Interesting. And it's very prevalent in the film.
Yes.
And that main theme repeats a lot. And when you're watching the film, it's fine. It works. And all of the other little themes they have, especially Kung Fu's fight music, they're all fucking great. But I can't imagine sitting down and listening to the soundtrack on vinyl.
Yep, they released it before the movie was released.
That is
before they had even, I think, made the movie.
Huh.
So they would take a lot of the pieces from the soundtrack and they would play them to the actors to, like, try to elicit the emotional response.
Oh, I like that.
I was looking for. And so instead of, like, move here, move there, you know, this is that kind of direction, it's more through the music. He's like, it's almost more like dance. Again, it really invoked to me the idea of, like, the No theater, which is highly structured, very slow, a much slower form of Japanese theater, very, very traditional. Deals a lot with these ghost stories. And has music incorporated with it as well. And there's a lot more, like, emotion instead of necessarily, I don't know, point, A, B, C, D they're also going for. And so I just really love that idea of bringing that kind of sensibility to get the performances that he wanted. And he just talks about how he felt like younger people were resonating with the performances because of that. That it was new and it was different and it wasn't what they were necessarily used to seeing on screen at the time, which is why it just became this gigantic hit. In terms of kind of moving forward cultural context, they talk about that there was a list of, like, however many young Japanese directors, and a bunch of them had House on their list as one of their favorite movies or movies that influenced them. A few of them had it as their number one movie. I mean, Criterion, it has a short video essay with Ty West on it.
Nice.
As I already mentioned, like, Happiness at the Katakuris by Takashi Miike, absolutely. I can see Miike being very influenced by this movie. I didn't look it up to double check, but just because of how prolific he is and how gonzo his attitude is when making a lot of movies, particularly for me, Happiness of the Katakuris. But there is so much of his filmography that just feels kind of indebted to House. Cut, The Three Extremes by Park Chan-wook, which I don't know if anyone's seen. Three Extremes, it has the beginning of Dumplings by Fruit Chan, which wrecked me for years. I could not eat dumplings. It made me so upset. It was like a decade. I was ruined. We have Cut, Park Chan-wook, South Korean, and then Mike does have a short in there as well. But Cut involves piano wires and people on a piano, and pointing out that there obviously is a history between Japan and South Korea of imperialism. So Park Chan-wook would obviously be aware. I mean, and just as a film horror director would be aware of House and would have seen it. And this is, it really, there's a basis there. And then I was actually kind of surprised about this Rotten Tomatoes score.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's got a 90%.
Heck yeah.
Based on 41 reviews. It's got a 7.2 out of 10 on IMDb and a 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd, which I was hoping it was going to be a little bit higher, but that makes sense because I'm sure there's a bunch of film bros who are just like, this is a movie for girls.
Or this isn't even like, what are these special effects? They're not
this doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. Shh, yes, it does.
They should fix this with AI.
Get out.
I should fix you with a scimitar. I don't know why I said scimitar.
Scimitar?
Yeah, that's just the weapon that came into my head, apparently. Anyway.
Weapon of choice.
Yeah. Well, speaking of weapons, let's make that money.
Hey.
And now we're going to dig into the meat, the goo, and the viscera in a section we call Enough is a Myth.
No. I've done enough.
Enough is a myth.
So this film is sort of a cosmic gumbo of styles and genres, utilizing unique cinematography, editing, animation, and scoring to create something that still stands out in the world of film. Do you think it's even remotely possible to make something like this in today's world? With a budget.
Right. I think part of it is the lack of budget and technology that actually makes this movie also so beautiful to watch.
I agree.
In a way where they are operating on, again, a level that is not actually working within the system. And also, the viewpoint of this movie literally comes from Obayashi's daughter.
Yeah.
That basically it was like, what would scare you? And almost everything she named is a way one of these girls dies.
Mm-hmm. Which is phenomenal.
So good. It was just like, you know what kind of that scares me? Being eaten by a mattress, because she'd have to move these futons, particularly when people were living in the countryside. They were you'd kind of have a futon on the ground more so than a raised bed. So if it got wet or damp or whatever you want, you would have to like move it. And you would want to move it up from the room anyway. It's taking up space. You put it up, but when you're little, you're trying to do that, and you're just feeling it fight against you. And your fear is it to like come and just eat you. Basically, almost everything she brings up is like, this feels like it's trying to fight against me and attack me. Particularly, there's, I don't want to spoil anything, but just really great story about playing the piano and why the piano is one of the main antagonists in this.
I love that scene. It is so
good.
It's so bonkers, and it's also scary. Like, you're laughing, but you're also scared because you're like, holy shit, this piano is eating this girl. And then you're like, wait, is that where they got the idea for the evil piano in Mario 64 in Big Boo's house that tries to eat you?
Right?
Because that's the first time I saw a house, I was like, oh, it's like the piano in Mario.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's so singular. I never want to say no to this question just because I feel like there will be someone out there who will do something like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think that it's possible to make this in today's world unless you are completely self-financing it and just getting to do whatever you want. If you have a crew and you have funding from people who are just like, yeah, do your thing, then I think something like this is possible. But stuff like that is few and far between these days. And that's a shame. We don't get this kind of innovative and, I'm going to say, whimsical filmmaking anymore. And that actually leads me into my next question. While this is technically a horror movie, it comes more from a place of whimsy and fun rather than attempting to scare its audience. Do you think this would work as a more traditional horror movie, or does it need those... does it need more levity and silliness in order to work?
I think it would work as a traditional horror movie, but then I think it's repeating what has been done in the past rather than becoming its own piece.
I absolutely agree. I think if you turn this into a traditional horror movie, you remove the sense of whimsy and the silliness of it, then you just have a typical, kids on vacation getting picked off one by one movie.
Or even in Japan, it would be like a quote-unquote typical ghost story.
Right.
And one of my favorite quotes from the Criterion piece was from Obayashi that says, quote, "Adults can only think about things they understand, so everything stays on that boring human level. At that level, a hit movie about shark attacks leads to one about bear attacks. That's the best they can do." And I was just like, my mind was blown for some reason by that. I was like, that's true. They do just lead to then no one's making a movie like, oh, shark attacks are real hot right now, so let's make one about a house that eats people one by one, picking them off. It comes from such a unique perspective. Again, that he collected all these fears from his daughter, and he went to her. He was like, if I'm going to make a movie like Jaws, but a Japanese movie, what would I do? And she was just like, don't make Japanese movies. They're boring. Which sounds like such a kid thing to say. Like, don't make a Japanese movie. That's really boring.
I love that.
Thinking about, like, ghosts moving from room to room. Like, you're a kid. That's not always the most fun thing to watch. Me, I'm like, this is gorgeous, and I'm into my veins. When I was a child, this is what you want. And there's just, that perspective is so underutilized in filmmaking, particularly today.
Yeah, and it's weird because there are movies that came out when we were kids that were like so fucking weird and fucked up and have such a great sense of imagination. And they don't make stuff like that anymore. Like The Peanut Butter Solution, that movie is fucked up.
I have never seen that one.
It is a Canadian movie. It has songs from Celine Dion from early in her career.
What?
And it's about a kid who sees something in this like abandoned house, and he gets so scared that all of his hair falls out. Then he sees the ghosts of these two unhoused people who I think he saw their dead bodies in there. and they teach him how to make the peanut butter solution, which he slathers on his head, and then his hair grows, but then his magic hair. So his French-Canadian art teacher kidnaps him and a bunch of other kids, forces them to turn this kid's hair into paintbrushes because they're magical, so he can make a shit ton of money off of it.
Checks out.
Like, that's a movie I watched multiple times as a kid, even though it scared the shit out of me. And they just don't make stuff like that anymore.
They really don't. I'm thinking about Don Bluth movies recently a lot, or I'm just like, how many hard life lessons did we all learn from Don Bluth movies?
Charlie, they're gonna kill you.
Right? Papa, Papa. Exactly. And we're all just crying and terrified and like death is coming for us all. And you just don't have that with today's generation.
Well, speaking of I don't know. I don't have a good transition to this question. My next question is, each girl has a name that matches her personality, and each girl's death is brought on by their propensity for engaging in specific activities. What kind of death would you suffer if you were in this movie? And not as Kung Fu, but as Caitlin.
Oh, yes, very much. Oh, it'd probably have something to do with I brought it up before. I crochet. I enjoy crocheting. I would probably, I don't know, get a hook in my eye or something. They'll probably like rip my eye out because that's something I've always been really worried. I don't want that to happen. So that'd probably be something. And because crochet hooks too, they're not just pointy. They have a little like hook on the end. So it'd be kind of good for scooping.
Ooh. Oh, gross.
It'd probably make my skin into ribbons, and then I would have to create it into a thing, and it'd be like little dancing square going ha 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 ha.
I love that. So I have like, my joke answer would be that I would be trying to over-explain something, and whoever I was talking to would walk away, I wouldn't notice, and then something would come up and just like cut my tongue off. Just to get me to shut up. That's my joke answer. My real answer, I would probably, trying to think about like what my most standout trait is other than talking a lot.
No, it's like being real loud. Like, how does being real loud?
I feel like I can only come up with this joke answer because, oh, no, you know what? It would absolutely be, I would be in the kitchen cooking, and like the knives and the pots and pans would start attacking me, and then I would be like sushi'd up.
No.
You know, so like use parts of me for sushi, saute some of me for like a nice little stir fry, something like that. Turn my blood into broth for ramen.
You know, so I just got hungry, so that is... So I was like, ooh, ramen sounds good. Oh, no. Oh, yep.
Well, on that note, let's play a game.
Hello. You don't know me, but I know you. I want to play a game.
Wow, I'm really nailing the transitions today. So
we're back.
This is a haunted house movie, a witch movie, a cannibal movie, a possession movie, and you've also got some sapphic subtext between some of the school friends, especially Gorgeous in Fantasy, but it also seems like there's something going on there. And I'm not trying to project my fantasies onto Japanese schoolgirls. I do not fetishize that at all.
No.
It is there. The subtext is there in the movie, and I really enjoy that. For me, this is absolutely a pleaser, and the fact that they show it as a midnight movie means it's a cult hit, it's a favorite for people. You don't show a Punisher as a midnight movie because you want people to come to it.
Oh, I suppose.
They did.
That makes sense.
They did Bleak Week at the Music Box a few months ago, and they showed just absolute punishers of films the entire week. And I didn't go to any of them because I was like, I don't think I can handle that right now. If I'm going to watch something bleak, it's going to be at home. But yeah, this is such a pleaser because its whimsical tone and its execution just make it so fun. It is so fun to watch every time I've watched it.
I agree. It's out of control. Again, we're throwing everything at the board, and it just works. And it's playing with, or even the beginnings of some of my favorite genres, like Splatstick.
Mm-hmm.
Peter. Oh my God! I almost said Peter Lorre. And then I was like, no, Peter Gabriel. No, Peter Jackson. Peter Jackson.
I love that you went from Peter Lorre to Peter Gabriel to Peter Jackson.
I'm gonna get it.
Mm-hmm. You got there.
Not close in the slightest. Samsonite, way off. Oh, but Sam Raimi, talking about just it's fun. It is imaginative. Like I said, Obayashi specifically said, what doesn't happen in reality, I want to do that. And I am here for it. And I, for some reason, I've forgotten about the Leslie energy coming from from fantasy and I almost said Georges. Woo! Ugh. Gorgeous.
Ugh. Gorgeous? Yay. Georges? Nay.
I was like, every time you've said that, I'm like, woo, stop myself. All right. Gorgeous. It made me want to turn around and watch Sailor Moon again. For some reason, it's been coming up a lot in my thoughts or other media of just this movie is kind of it feels like a strong basis for a lot of text that came after it. Mm-hmm. And I just want filmmakers to do this. Just go nuts.
Just have fun. Fucking have fun.
I don't want to emulate this director. I would like to make this director mad.
But not this director. I would like to make this director proud.
Director. Exactly.
I'd like to make that director mad.
Director mad. A bit of both, maybe. A bit of both.
Porque no los dos. Mm-hmm. Do you have any final thoughts?
I think I have said almost everything I have wanted to say, and yeah, it's a fun time.
Yeah.
It's 120 minutes. Watch it.
Yes. Well, before we get turned into bananas, let's wrap up with what awaits you next time.
Don't you see? He's got us now. Okay, this is exactly what he wants. We can't go to the police, not now. He's made sure of that. He's just out there and he's watching us and waiting. What are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting for?
Hey, I finally got a good transition.
Hey!
Bananas!
There's bananas everywhere!
So that brings us to the end of our episode. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey, fellow travelers. If you like what you hear, please leave us a rating and review wherever you can because it helps more people find the show. It makes us all tingly inside. Oh. You can find us on Instagram at Pleasers and Punishers and on Blue Sky at Pleasers Punishers. You can also email us at pleaserspunisherspodcast@gmail.com. You can find me on Blue Sky and Letterboxd at Everson Poe. You can find my music on Bandcamp, streaming services, and Ampwall as Everson Poe, 2 separate words. And you can hear me on the podcasts Tender Subject and Slayerfest 98. Caitlin, where can you be found on the internet?
I can be found at Caitlin of the North on Blue Sky and Instagram, Cat of the North on Letterboxd. I'm also going to do a plug for a documentary that recently became available on streaming because you can find me in the promo materials for that documentary. But
what?
I had the pleasure of watching this movie called The Sweetheart Deal last year. It is a documentary that follows women who are heroin addicts, opioid addicts, and sex workers in Seattle on Aurora. It follows them for about a decade. Originally, it started out because there was this man who was kind of like the king of Aurora, and he would give these women food and a place to stay if they needed, etc. It pretty much starts out, so this isn't really a spoiler, that there is a huge crime element to this, because it starts out with him in a correctional facility in Washington. I will say this documentary, again, takes place 10 years. It's not an easy watch all the time. However, it is incredibly human, empathetic. It never, ever judges these women. And ultimately, there is a lot of triumph, I guess, to be found. And it's just, to me, no one is paying me to say this. It's like, that'd be wild if someone was. Please give me money. Oops, nope. No, I'm not being paid to say this. It was just, I was so profoundly affected and impacted by this documentary after I saw this. They wanted people to, if they had anything to say, would they be willing to say it? I was like, I have a lot to say about this movie. I honestly feel like everyone should see it. This should be required viewing for our elected officials, because it really shows how the criminalization of things like sex work, safe injection sites, places for people who deserve housing, who do not have housing. Like, when we criminalize all of these things, how it does so much more harm to the people that you're trying to help, quote unquote, but it really does a lot more harm, and it doesn't give people any options. And so the Sweetheart deal, it is now available for streaming. You might have to rent or purchase it, but I 100%, 1,000,000%, I think, required viewing for everyone.
Well, that is both exciting and disheartening that something like that even has to exist. But I'm glad that they got some quotes from you for their promotional materials, because you are so smart and you always have good things to say.
Thank you.
And before we tell you what's happening next week, I want to read a review that we got on Apple Podcasts. This is from I'll Take the Night Shift. Thank you so much for writing this. I found it the other day and it made me very, very happy. My new fave podcast, 5 stars. A podcast about all kinds of films that are fun, terrible, kinky, and queer? I'm sold. May and Caitlin bring their expertise, insights, levity, and humor in their discussions about these films. My favorite so far has been their episode about Companion, a film I love dearly. I cannot recommend it enough, and I'm excited to see what sites they'll be showing us next. That is like, again, it makes us tingly inside. I have goosebumps right now from reading that out loud. Thank you so much. If you want us to read your review on mic, write one. Write a review. It really does help us. We're not on a podcast network. This is not like when I was on Lady Killers and we had the backing of Bloody Disgusting. This is completely independent. I do all of the editing, and we pay for the podcasting app distribution stuff. So, like, share us around. Tell your friends. Yeah. We are not doing this for anything but fun. And it would be great if more people got into it, because we really care about what we're doing here and it means a lot to us. So thank you again for the review. Yes. And next week's episode will be on the cook, the thief, his wife, and her lover. And we'll have a very special guest joining us, so stay tuned. Also, caveat, that might change. There's some stuff that's up in the air, so don't get mad at us if our next episode isn't actually the cook, the thief, his wife, and her lover. Hopefully it will be.
Yes.
Until then, do some aftercare, clean your toys, set healthy boundaries, and...
You're so cool, Kung Fu.